Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Phil's Corner Live. Welcome to the Hot Wall. Welcome to our Thursday show. As we begin, well, welcome to a couple of our regulars here. We've got Andres, says let's go. Good to see you, my friend, and Daredevil as well. JPR flying in. Great to have you chaps along with us, and of course, if you are watching this for the first time as well, say hi in chat, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from. I've not put my lights on, and I realise there's a lot of light behind me. It's such a sunny day, a rare sunny day here in Yorkshire, but you don't need to see my face too much, it's fine. Good to see Ian as well, and Brock. Early for Brock, 7 a.m. This is commitment. This is the show to watch as you have some breakfast, Brock. And Ian coming from Didcot, Rock City. Guys, thank you for flying in early doors. You guys all know what we're doing. We've been doing the Hot Wall, well, on and off for a few years really on the channel, a couple of years. And certainly the 2024 edition has been a lot of fun. We are currently, of course, only a few months into the year. There's many shirts to come, so you guys are in at the early stages. If you're watching this, there is many more releases to rank. As the summer approaches, we're going to have the busiest part of the year, of course. There's going to be lots to talk about, so I'm excited. Daredevil says, didn't you say in Yorkshire? Some of York City shirt. Funny story, Daredevil, though I am in Yorkshire, I'm in West Yorkshire, in Huddersfield. So there's several clubs, well, more than several. There's loads of clubs in between us and York itself. So I'm not actually that close to York. Well, by UK standards, I guess by the US standards, it's around the corner. But I couldn't send you a York City shirt. I might have an old Huddersfield shirt I could dig out and vlog to you. But anyway, Box said, did you follow Russ Cook hardest geezer journey? I only on socials, but yeah, certainly saw a few bits, which was pretty crazy. I don't know much of the story behind it, to be honest. Again, I only saw stuff from Twitter and stuff. That's the guy who ran Africa, wasn't it? Unless I'm getting my names mixed up. And Andres is coming to us from the Netherlands, which is cool. Is that for? Remind me what that's for. Just you did say, was that for a tournament, or are you refereeing for something for a tournament? Again, you did say, my friend, and I've forgotten, but and it's all good, Daredevil, all good. Guys, as we begin, before we get to the Hot Wall itself, a couple of bits of housekeeping. Firstly, just to say that if you are, well, 1 second. There we go. if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. It is a really significant thing for a channel like mine. Subscriber number, it's one of the first things people look at when they go into a channel, and it does add a lot of credibility, for better or for worse. So the more subscribers, the more it helps this channel be seen by people, and it's just a great way to get up to date with what's coming. We have streams like this, we have other videos. I'm in the editing stage of my next main video, which is talking about how to avoid collector fatigue, how to avoid collector burnout. So a bit of a discussional video, which I like to do every so often. So that's one thing coming up on the channel, but there's other stuff too. And I also have a Patreon. So if you want to again support me further, support me as a content creator, and get a range of benefits, including a shirt as part of your support, and access to a Slack group where there are exclusive giveaways and a bunch of other stuff. Check out the link in the description if that is of interest. Now, as I just prepare the hot wall itself, I will just bring that in for us very, very shortly. There we go. I'm so glad I have a mute button now, because I keep having to blow my nose, and you do not want to hear that. Speaking of York, the guys in chat, Ian saying, I have Yorkshire, but it's from Canada. Yeah, that's even further from me. From memory, their shirts are pretty nice though. Brock also has a Canadian York shirt. And I just indeed refereed a couple of youth tournaments. I refereed, a couple of youth tournaments in Costa del Sol, Spain, Porto, before everything at the end of March. Very nice. Bit of a European tour. That is sweet. And yes, Daredevil CPL kits have been really good. I mean, as we look at the wall, the state of play, obviously there's some selection of different leagues represented. CPL, I believe, has some representation in the Flames tier. I'm not going to go digging through because, again, we'll be here for a long time, because there are a lot of shirts and there's many more to come. But let's add to this. Let's see what we have got. We don't want to go there. We want to go here. We're going to go to Football Shirt Culture, and we're going to go from the newest down. Only including shirts that are worn on the pitch. So no pre-match shirts, lifestyle shirts. Also not including goalkeeper kits, just to keep some sort of to have some sort of restrictions. As I go through, guys, I always love to hear your thoughts. If you like a shirt, dislike a shirt, if you agree or disagree with my rankings. We'll start with EC Vitoria. Now these guys have shirts from the brand Volt, who we've kind of got to know over the years, with mixed results, it was fair to say, but they're certainly working with a lot of teams. Box says, what's your highest ranked shirt? I mean, I need to stop doing that. It's a toss up between Malaga and the Basel one there. They are definitely two of my favourites. Generally speaking, the further right, the more I like it. There's a bit of wiggle room. But yeah, I really do like those two, and there's a selection of other ones from some of the other brands as well, of course. So looking at the shirt, honestly, it looks fairly vanilla, fairly standard. There's not too much to get excited about, I would say. At least based on first glance. Sometimes there's some sort of subliminal pattern or details, but honestly it looks like a fairly standard striped shirt. The collar is fine, not my favourite style, but it's reasonably executed. There is a little detail here, it seems. I'm not sure if that's on the inside neck or the kind of jock tag area. A sublimated detail. This is a low candle tier for me. Red and black striped shirts, kind of a dime a dozen, really. And there are much better examples out there. So it's fine, it's safe, it's inoffensive, but not the kind of shirt we get excited about, at least based on first impression. So this is Victoria. I'm thinking lower candle tier. The candle tier is our third tier here, which is almost certainly going to be the busiest tier by the end of the year. Yeah, I think something like here feels about right. Yeah, Genesis designed by the Beano, absolutely. It does have the Dennis the Menace vibes. In fact, if you want even more Dennis the Menace, just look at that already just on this list. Yeah, there's a lot of red and black out there. 1 second, let me just get that good. Yeah, there we go. So that is Victoria. There'll be much better shirts though to come, guys. Let's go to Flamengo. Now these guys of course play in red and black, but this is their away shirt, and there seems to be an interesting pattern here. Now what's funny is the replica seems to be completely plain. Now given the, well, if you saw that you'd be very disappointed, but if you try and look at the match shirt, hard to get a handle on exactly what that pattern is. Now we can still take a few things into account. As I say, I'm sure there'll be better pictures out there. Maybe if we just quickly just search it. Let's go to old football headlines, footy headlines I should say. Okay, so still not seeing a very clear picture, but this is slightly more helpful. So is it like a phoenix or some sort of, I'm not sure exactly what the pattern is, so hard to see. These sorts of subtle patterns, subliminal patterns, have something about them. Honestly, I would usually like to see that in a shirt. So even though we can't really get a good idea of what it looks like, that's positive. Sponsors, there's many of them, as there are with many South American teams. They are recoloured at least to match the shirt, all in black. So I think this one is higher in the candle tier, but it's still in that third tier for me. I talk a lot. Inspired by music. Okay, I missed that. Apologies. I did miss that. Let's see if it actually says. Yeah, sometimes full shirt culture doesn't have all the info. So apparently, I mean, given that there was a shoot in a studio, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm thinking something in the higher end of the counter tier. Funny enough, where their home shirt is actually feels about right. Sadly, it has been let down partially by the shoot, I think, because I'm not getting a good look at the shirt itself, which, you know, though we don't want to judge a shirt on that basis alone, given that we are looking through hundreds and hundreds of shirts, we've kind of got to give a first impression based on the press shots that we see. So Flamengo away, I do like a subliminal pattern. I don't really think it's as strong as it could be, but I think yeah, the home shirt's there, something around there, around that area, sorry, of the list feels good. I forgot to move the brands. One other thing we're doing this year, which I forgot to do, and I'll rectify now, is that we're tracking a brand's performance. Now the funny thing is, look at that, without even realising it, the Vittoria shirt, which is a Vault shirt, is almost, well, that couldn't be more central on the Vault ranking there. It was meant to be. This marker is roughly tracking a brand's performance. It looks like I planned it, but I promise I didn't. And then obviously this is an Adidas shirt. We'll kind of knock Adidas down a little bit. It's a very approximated position though, so don't put too much stock into that. But that is Flamengo away. Now we come to Rushden and Diamonds. Now these guys playing in the Northern Premier League. We'll have to excuse what looks like a pretty low-res render. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out if this is just a lifestyle piece or a shirt that is going to be worn on the pitch, because it does seem to be a remake and it does have a very 90s look to it. I honestly don't know if it's going to be worn on the pitch, so I'm just having a look here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that says it's going to be worn on the pitch, so I think we will probably exclude it for now. Obviously, if anyone knows any more, let me know, and I could potentially, off stream, have a look at it in a bit more detail. But I would say, a quick take. This retro style is very charming, and it does have a lot about it. Macron are great. They're certainly one of my favourite brands this year, and their position on the board here speaks to that on the wall. But yeah, without knowing for sure if it's, because this to me looks like it might just be basically a retro shirt, which is fine, which is great, and obviously for Russian and Diamond fans and fans of shirts, this is a really cool item. Although the render doesn't really do it justice, but let's not rank it for now. Collar is unique. Yeah, I saw someone down here say it's the collar printed on. Yeah, this is honestly just a really low quality. Yeah, they're not doing the shirt justice there for sure. Now, we talked about the MLS pre-match shirts briefly on the eBay stream on Tuesday. Of course, again, these aren't match shirts, so we won't rank them, but just have a very quick look at them again on stream. Yeah, I think quite an interesting kind of set of colorways, and it's curious that there's 3 colorways. Obviously, many of these kind of initiatives that MLS have been kind of one half of the teams wearing one color and the other half wearing another, so kind of 2 different colorways. But to have 3 is a change. I saw some people comparing this design to the what's the name of the team now? Vermont Green. The fantastic Vermont Green shirts, the floral shirts, which are certainly much better, much better than these MLS shirts. But overall, I think they look quite nice. MLS do several of these, don't they, every year? What about Cavalry FC? Now, we come to the CPL, the Canadian Premier League, and I'm glad we can cover this because this shirt has a lot about it. This is again an example of Macron doing good work, and an example of another good Canadian shirt. Small things, guys, which make a difference. Pattern fully on the back, which simply a lot of clubs, a lot of brands, do not do. This little detail, it looks almost like an alternate crest. It might be a sponsor, I'm not sure, but I think it's, well, I'm not sure exactly, but either a sponsor or a kind of design element. But that looks fine. I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of line here, the construction, but it is different. And it's a simple design, this kind of camo look with the kind of military green, but the collar's pretty strong. It's a really solid shirt, and I think the significance for me is having again that pattern on the back, which really makes a difference. And yeah, we've seen better shirts, we've seen more exciting shirts, but it's a good example of Macron and the kind of standard that they set themselves. Now, what separates this, or what holds this back, I should say, from being in the upper echelons, anything close to the Volcano tier, is that it doesn't have those kind of embossed elements which a lot of the best Macron shirts do. One example, I think we talked about, was it the Miami FC shirt? So these guys, outside of MLS, outside of the kind of top division of the US, but the embossed pattern on that shirt was really, really good. So lots of good stuff from Macron. This, I think, is probably kind of hovering just below the Flames tier for me. So there are much better Macron shirts out there, but this is kind of one of the the quote-unquote weaker Macron shirts, and it is better than many other shirts we've seen this season. So I like it here. We've got Roma there, Brazil. That feels like a good place. We will bump Macron down slightly, but as a whole, really, really enjoying the brand's work. Macron's killing it with colours. Assuming you mean positively, Daredevil, I would agree. We're staying with Macron. The funny thing is as well, Macron worked with so many teams that typically when a brand works with so many teams, the quality sort of tends to drop off. You know, you think of someone like a Castor, for example, and they do work with a lot of teams, but they have a lot of misses in their portfolio. But Macron, the standard is generally higher. Of course, they're not flawless. But let's look at this shirt, the Arminia Bielefeld. I'm not sure how you say the name. Some really fun elements here. This kind of alternate crest, the giant A. I'm quite partial to a giant letter crest. I think that looks great. I really do think this collar is nicely executed. We talk a lot about, on this channel anyway, I rant about one button collars, but this is a proper collar with the 2 buttons there. But that looks great. It's a really nicely styled collar. You've got the little lines, the pinstripes, the kind of they may be embossed, or certainly they're quite nicely done. The sponsor looks great. This almost looks like a retro shirt, Julius Hesse. So it looks like a kind of special edition shirt. So here we go. There's a bit of a backstory here. The former club president, the Jewish former club president, he was murdered in a concentration camp. So a shirt to commemorate him. It's funny, I mentioned that I didn't like that line, Bielefeld. Thank you, Brock, one of our resident pronunciation experts who does help me very often, so appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, I mentioned that I didn't like the cavalry shirt had that line, the green line. Well, here it kind of helps frame that detail. To be honest, this looks really strong. This is ticking a lot of boxes in the black and white. I actually think this is a high Flames tier shirt. There are very few things I would change about this, and though it's not like a volcano tier in my eyes, it's not far off. I think this is just brilliant. And it's great to see, you know, we see a lot of special edition shirts, don't we? We see a lot of blackout shirts, a lot of black and gold shirts. It's nice to see a special edition shirt which doesn't just fall into those tropes, into those trends. And I think it's the better for it. So this is great. I mean, this is, when I look at this, I don't feel bad putting it as high as here on the list. We'll go here alongside the likes of El Salvador there, just behind Belgium. So Macron, we bump them down, we'll bump them back up. Thank you, Brock. See, but with more intel here for tolerance and diversity on the back neck. Great stuff. Really nice shirt. Really, really good shirt from Bielefeld and Macron. Guarenia. Again, you have to be on it when it comes to pronouncing team names, don't you? Excited to be ranking this shirt from Kyrios, a brand, I believe they are Paraguayan themselves. Yeah, so Kyrios, who really kind of have burst onto the scene in the last couple of years. Excitingly, they're working with the designer Gustavo Sonkovic, who's a friend of mine, or certainly someone many of you will know from the community, and he's a great designer. He's worked with a bunch of brands. I don't think this design is really jumping out to me, or it's not one which I'm sort of honestly, I'm not super impressed by. And this will be awkward if this is one of Gus's designs, but you know, being critical here, the way that there seems to be, I'm not sure what this is, the kind of like weathered sorry, kind of almost like a weathered effect. It kind of almost looks like there's like a detail, like a map underneath or something. I'm not sure I like that, to be honest. I don't think it works well. And then when I see these details here, this is kind of my least favourite way to approach this kind of detail. When you've got this kind of large script or large portion of this kind of script, this detail which looks like a jock tag, that's a lot tighter, that's a lot, you know, crisper in the what looks like a kind of TPE or plastic application. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but I must say I don't really like the overall aesthetics of those stripes. I'd also just rather not have that, certainly in that style. The sponsors are, again recolored as is typical, but the collar, that's not my favourite style of collar either. I think actually this one is probably, again, this is a low candle tier. So Kyrgios, they've done some really good work in recent years. I don't think this is a shirt that's kind of playing to their strengths. A lot of their best shirts have had quite intricate patterns. This, to me, the style of the pattern and the quality of the pattern is lacking. So low candle tier for Guerrenia. Yeah, I mean there's a space here that's kind of, well, you know what, I might even go lower. I think I'll go around here. So a bit of a letdown from Kyrgios. We've not had many of their shirts though, and I forget. We'll move them down here. Oh, I forget how many shirts we've done from them, but that is Kyrgios and Guerrenia. So potentially more to come this year from them. I can see what looks like a goalkeeper kit, possibly an away kit. We don't have pictures on here, so we will move on, but again, that may be ranked later on. Dennis says, is that a map? And if so, is the X on the back of the shirt? Yeah, that would be quite a funny detail. Now, Le Havre from France. Shirt from Homer, the Spanish brand. A kind of interesting pattern, almost like a weave design. And I don't hate that at first glance. We've got it on the back, always a good thing. And I think, it's got this kind of interesting colour, this very moody kind of set of greys and blacks and navies, and it's honestly quite a nice combo. I think this works quite well. Yeah, like obviously in the setting as well, when you see it with the next to the sea, it fits pretty good. Yeah, this is a pretty effective shirt. This is a third kit for them. And I do like that pattern, the look of it, and I think the introducing those blues and navies really helps this one. If this was just black and white, yeah, Daedalus is, I like this colour up perfectly. Yeah, I think honestly, there's a lot to be said when you have a colourway which is something you don't typically see. You're already starting from a good place, and I think that's the important thing when especially for the purposes of this tier list. We're making hundreds of shirts, thousands of shirts. Well, I don't know if it's quite thousands, but anyway, we're ranking a ton of shirts, and the key thing which you're looking for, well, no, it will be thousands, won't it? Anyway, so the key thing we're really looking for is something to separate the shirt from the masses, from the pack, and I think this colour combination just about does it. There's nothing wrong with a black and white shirt, but they are kind of a dime a dozen, to use that phrase again. And even like a shirt here, I forget which team this was, but you see that colourway is pretty nice, but just those little bits of blue do a lot. They really do. So I think this is actually a Flames tier shirt for me. And there's this kind of area here just above this kind of cluster of shirts. You can see a number of black shirts here, but I'm going to stick it here. And that's not bad from Le Havre. And Homer, again, like Macron, doing some good work. So that, it's very close in my mind between those two brands. Ian says the Le Havre colour scheme is almost tartan. Yeah, it almost is, isn't it? And I think it's a really effective look. I'd be interested to see that in a kind of much smaller scale, but it wouldn't necessarily look better. I think, in some ways it's quite nice having it a bit blown up, a bit bigger. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I forget what their home and away kits from this year look like. I don't think they'll be on this list because they likely would have been released, they would have been released last summer, and this is only for the calendar year of 2024. Anyway, good stuff from Le Havre. What about Club de Remo? Another shirt from Volt. So these guys do very much, I think Volt themselves are Brazilian. They certainly work with a lot of Brazilian teams. Is this just a plain shirt? The funny thing is, I think it actually might be. Now you know what, it's actually got some, the TPU crest is quite nicely executed. I don't mind the kind of look of the collar, the construction. It's fine, but it is basically just plain. And isn't it funny, in a league and in a continent where there are so many crazy shirts full of sponsors, this is remarkably reserved. Too much so, perhaps, but to be honest, I would still take this over probably all the Ice Cube tier shirts. So it is a plain shirt, yes, but I don't think I'd feel too bad putting this even in the middle of the counter tier, or at least maybe not the middle, but the lower end of the counter tier. But yeah, despite its significant plainness, and it is significantly plain, I quite like it, despite that. Again, when I mean, we're kind of clutching at straws here, but the construction, the quality looks reasonable. Again, I do like that sort of crest style. That personally is one I like, and I think the collar, though a simple look, again having the kind of different knit there, it's a small thing, but that would, if that was just the same material or the same structure as the body, I wouldn't like it as much. But I don't mind that. It's a bit like a budget version of what Adidas have been doing with some of their recent player spec shirts. We should be the volcano just for lack of sponsors, says Daredevil. Yeah, indeed. It would certainly win an award for in that department. So we'll go here for Club de Remo, and that is a shirt from Volt. We'll bump them up just a little bit. So they're still a brand who I want to see a bit more from, but hey, that's one of their better shirts this season. AIK. Now these guys, of course, have become very famous in the shirt world for their box shirts, their special edition shirts, but some of their home and away shirts have certainly had something about them as well. If we take a look at this away shirt, I do quite like shirts which have these kind of horizontal bands, the kind of Boca Juniors effect, again a kind of cliche on the show, on the channel. And though there is a sponsor in there, I think the broad, that broad look is good. This last couple of years hasn't been great from Nike's construction, from Nike's in terms of Nike's construction, but this is one of my preferred versions of their most recent template, or this version of the template I should say, even though I've kind of been a bit more partial to having this panel in a contrasting colour, what has been dubbed sometimes the bat wings, but yeah, you can see this in the latest Strife ADV spec as well. I said the latest. This is the latest version, but the version for the last 2 years. Really like the outline swoosh, which again Nike have been kind of experimenting with some clubs. And Ian said, having a feeling it won't be cheap. Yeah, it probably won't be. These guys again, though I would hope this was less than their special edition shirts, it definitely won't be super cheap. I do like it a lot though, and again it definitely ticks some of my own boxes. The hoop socks, we're not ranking the full kit, but I do like the hoop socks. It's not a real standout, but again, little things like that swoosh, and just the overall look of those horizontal bands is a personal favourite style of mine. So I think this is Flames tier. Nothing too high in the Flames tier, but yeah, that's certainly a shirt which I would say is hot for the purposes of the hot wall. I forget if we've ranked their special edition shirt actually yet. It might be one of a number of shirts which I still need to rank in the kind of the backlog, which I've been meaning to do for weeks now, and I will get round to. at some point. So I can't remember if it is on here or not. I don't think it is. I can't see it at first glance. But then there are a lot of shirts on here. So yeah, okay. Yeah, I like it around here. I've got PSG there. Yeah, I don't hate it. Something like that, which is pretty high. And that is a Nike shirt, so we will find Nike and move them accordingly. So that is ARK's away shirt. Pretty good stuff overall. Apologies guys, I keep having to mute my mic. I'll say thank goodness for the mute button. Let's continue. Now I don't think there's actually many more to catch up on, right? Because so there's Malaga, so I actually think there we go. This is good. And now we're caught up. We can work through the backlog. I mean today I'll probably will leave it once we catch up with Malaga, I think. And then do a few more bits off stream. But that's good that we've caught up, which we've not actually done at all possibly this year, this round of the Hot Wall. I might be wrong, might be forgetting, but yeah, that's good. And there are a few weeks to catch up on, but the more up to date we are, the better, of course, especially ahead of the summer, which is going to be busy, and we're going to need some 2, maybe even 3-hour streams in the summer when it gets busy, which will be fun. Now we come to Union Omaha and Hummel, of course. These guys, I do really like their crest, the owl there. And what's the story behind this design? Let's have a quick skim read. Farmland. I love stuff like this. Crop circles. Just stories like this, or like lines like this that you get in press releases. The grey embellishment to the white base refers to the appearance of farmland caused by centre pivot irrigation, but is often attributed to extraterrestrials. Other names of the 39 counties of Union's home state of Nebraska are also involved. Brilliant. Just, yeah, all sorts of stuff going on here, and you can actually see, I didn't realise that was actually text there. So it's a really kind of unusual, quirky story. I don't think, if I'm honest, I don't think the finished design is that strong. I do like the story though, and having said that, even though it's not kind of wowing me in terms of a pattern, love these details. They look great. Bit of an inside net detail, and Hummel's US division have been really strong. I think there've been a lot of good kits from the States, and you can see Hummel really growing their market share to good effect in North America. So this is good, but it's not quite wowing me. I think the actual pattern itself could be stronger, but having said that, I actually do think this is going to be in the Flames tier, probably lower end of the Flames tier, but it's got a lot of creativity. The details look good. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being picky, they could probably tidy up the application of that crest, but that is very picky. I like this from Union Omaha and Hummel. Yeah, I think something here feels good on the border there of the candle and Flames tier. And if we look for Hummel on the board, there they are. Let's just move them into the gap. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff from Hummel. And Union Omaha. There we go. Sweet. Box design, just glad 3rd Division US is going away from basic templates. Yeah, I mean, there's been a significant push. And alongside that, I think in women's football as well, it's great to see. Again in the States, not this year was a bit of a mixed bag, but there was a commitment. Was it the NWSL? I forget the full moniker, the full abbreviation, but yeah, great to see some development there. Now staying with Hummel, but moving now to the Netherlands, we have FC Evans orange shirt to celebrate King's Day. Obviously being a Dutch side. There's something to be said about having a bright orange shirt, and this looks really cool. This kind of burnt orange shade is great. I like that. It's a really strong choice. You know, again, we talk about colours. There's many ways you could do an orange shirt. Many shades of orange you could choose, but I like this particular shade. And the pattern itself in the body, you know, it's kind of got that kind of doodle effect, doodle look. I like it. I don't think, to be honest, it adds too much to the shirt. But it, you know, it's reasonably, yeah, it's charming. It's kind of scattered across, isn't it? And it very much, I'm assuming this is for charity or something. Not sure exactly. Just to see a mystery football box there sponsoring the team. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is for a particular cause or anything. Anyway, overall, I do think I'm enjoying this one. Yeah, very FC Cincinnati vibes for sure, Brock. Yes, FC having sponsorship, as Ian alludes to. Yeah, let's just say it's not necessarily the kind of toys which are alluded to in the doodles. Let's just put it that way. Robert says the colour of the logo clash with the shirt. I assume you refer to the crest there, Robert? In which case it does, and it will be interesting to see that restyled. Overall, I think they had they've executed well on the brief. It clearly looks like, it's nodding to the Dutch national team shirts. I'd probably, overall, I am quite a big fan. Again, that burnt orange shade for me is doing a lot, and it's hard to get those kind of patterns. I think those kind of doodle, the red of the crest. Yeah, I hear you. I think definitely, like, looking at that, it's interesting, like the debate or the discussion to be had around should you recolor crest all the time. Clearly, it is a color clash. But sometimes some crests particularly don't lend themselves that well to being recolored, and there would be many ways to potentially mess that up if they did that. Now, fortune favours the brave, the bold, doesn't it? So many ways, I think it would be good to see some, at least for interest's sake, to see some ideas that were closely matched. Maybe having other styles, but then I imagine when they trialed that, potentially if they tried that in blue, that might be too much of a change going from red to blue. Then do you go for an outline look? Again, that's a big discussion. Daedal says, I'm a fan of the OG crest. I want to come over things getting played out. Yeah, that's another thing to be said as well, that it, in some ways, the kind of monochrome button does get pressed quite a lot. That's honestly, that's a really interesting debate, and I think there's definitely no hard and fast rule. I think sometimes recolor crests are the way to go. Sometimes actually sticking with the original is better. This one, it's a bit of a coin toss for me. I think I would say as a whole, it's not detracted too much for me from the shirt. I mean, I'm ranking it as high as here, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't mind it. Something around there. And that is another Hummel shirt. Great. Hummel are there. We'll bond them up. He says, love the sponsorship was initially banned, but after they protected that gambling sponsorship causes more harm than sex toys, it was allowed. Could probably only happen in the Netherlands. I think so. That is certainly a very Dutch story for FCM and their protested. Gotcha. Thanks, Ian. What about Toulouse? A mashup shirt. Oh boy. Now, mashup shirts. Gotta avoid that tongue twister. Kind of came and went a few years ago. Question for us: I think it is just a leisure wear item. Okay, so it's not going to be one on the pitch, so we will not spend too much time on this. But what I will say is, I don't think this one looks particularly good. Yeah, mashup shirts are tricky to get right, but this one is pretty out there. I mean, it's almost so ridiculous that it has something about it, but I don't think I'll be ranking this one too highly. Too highly. Again, we won't rank it. I mean, looking at it, it's, you know, if you're going to do a mashup shirt, you might as well have some fun with it. But I think it is just a little bit too much. Daredevil, with an interesting continuation on our discussion on crest, saying, I feel like third kit's the only one's allowed to moniker the crest. Nowadays, even the homies on a co when a person didn't like it. Yeah, I hear you. I think that's definitely part of the discussion. It used to be that third shirts were kind of the playground for that, and now it is certainly quite common to see home shirts with recolored crests. So I do like sorry. I do like the general thinking of having for example, kind of alternate crests used on away or third shirts. I like that approach. We've seen that with a lot of the bigger teams, bigger times, bigger teams, and I think that works quite effectively for a few clubs. So yeah, very interesting. Brock says, I think I maybe like it, the Toulouse shirt, that is, because it's crazy. It is certainly crazy. I think it's so difficult. There's so many ways to do a mashup shirt. I wonder if maybe just having those sections cut so cleanly, well, I don't know. I'd have to, I mean, really, you need to see all those shirts, don't you? And that maybe it is just actually they've made the most of what they're trying to do there. Now, another CPL shirt for us to rank here in the shape of Valor FC. It's fair to say this one is quite a understated look, and it does help to see. We can see kind of the team from Winnipeg, Winnipeg Fury. So inspiration there. Honestly, that looks a lot better to me, having the white at the top. This one is kind of a real kind of budget version, and I'm not sure. Sorry guys, I'm not sure about the kind of stripes here. It's a pretty underwhelming shirt. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think if you had, again, a look much closer to this, I know it's a small thing, but I do think it would look a bit better. I don't hate, you know, you've got the embroidered logo. I don't hate having something on the back there with those kind of two-tone stripes, but it is an underwhelming shirt. I think it's not bad, and I do appreciate seeing those images of the shirt which inspired it. That helps give context to the design, but at the same time I kind of wish it was a bit more like that. Just having this the full block on the top in red, it's a small thing, but I would like to see it closer to that original kit. I think that would look a little bit better, and perhaps it's because you've seen quite a few templates for the likes of Adidas which have had that sort of style, like this one here, like the eventual kit. So small things to help separate from that would be a positive. I think we're looking at the bottom end of the candle tier. A rare L from Macron, who have been very good this year, but we will knock them down for that. Hey Mason, good to see you. One of our recent subscribers, it says, maybe you've spoken about it. Did you see the Virginia Dream kit? Oh, I did not. Well, I did. Yeah. No, he says Val looks to me like they're borrowed shirts from a local rugby club. It definitely has that kind of look. Now, what's interesting, right? We talked about how, you know, relatively understated the home shirt was with LFC. Well, they've gone the other end of the spectrum with their away shirt. And just quickly before we come on to the away shirt, I think there's something to be said about having, if you're going to have a crazy crazy home or away shirt to kind of do the opposite for the other respective kit. You have if you've got a classic home, go a bit more out there with the away, and vice versa. Having this simple of a home helps kind of leave a bit of breathing room for an away like this. so I thought I was feeling okay, but I feel like I was not quite right. So anyway, I won't talk about my health. We'll come on to Valor FC. Wow. Now several sides have been adopting this kind of more indigenous inspired designs. I was just confirming that before I said that, but yes, it is indeed not into the First Peoples of the country. So yeah, we've seen this with a few teams. I must say this design, which has this sunflower, the funny thing is it very much draws attention to the sponsor. So I like a lot of this, but it is kind of funny that the focal point is that sponsor. However, the look of it and having that centralized makes sense, because if that was around the crest, you would lose a lot of that, and of course it wouldn't be balanced. It wouldn't be, symmetrical. So, yeah, like it's kind of funny. This is a great advert for One Soccer, but actually, looking at it, really punchy, effective pattern. Now there is a plain back, which is a shame. Not too surprising given the intricacy of the design, but that is pretty wild. And I must say, the colorway of Valor FC isn't one of my favorites, but it is working here. Again, this kind of the colorway that they have with the black and the kind of gold and the maroon, the dark red. I say maroon, it's kind of not so dark there, is it? But anyway, not the easiest colorway to really get excited about. But it looks great. It looks really good. And again, we've seen several shirts with a kind of indigenous tribal look. And this is true of a number of leagues around the world, but this is a really it's a real standout. And seeing it in context, seeing the home shirt and recognizing, okay, that is quite plain, but the away is anything but plain, except for the back. I like it. I like it a lot. There's more of the story here, which you can read. So, how much do I like it? Well, if we look at, we're already jumping at a minimum to the Flames tier, but I think I'm going to keep it from being in the Volcano tier. Not by much, but when I look at this shirt, little things like having the plain back, but also I can't get over the fact that it is basically, it's just immediately drawing my attention to the sponsor, and it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not. Sorry. I really need to. 1 second. One of these days I'm going to forget to mute and it's going to sound horrible. Yeah. Overall, I like the shirt, but I can't quite put it into the Volcano tier. However, there's a gap here, and I don't mind it in this sort of area. And this is Macron again. Lots of Macron talk today, but this is an example of them ultimately, I think, doing really well in taking what is, again, something we've seen with several teams, indigenous patterns, but really playing to, tying it in very closely to Valor FC, using the colorway effectively. It's great to see that. It's great to see, see what feels like, again, from a color perspective. I like the other shirts that the club have had in their relatively short history, but I do think that's a really effective way of doing it. And the aesthetics of the pattern, having it centralized and symmetrical, I don't mind, even though that's not an important call, so I'm going to just mute that. Yeah, so really happy with that as a whole. Eric, good to see you, my friend. So CPL came up with some nice kits for the season. They did. Yeah, we've been talking about CPL a bit today. Oh, incidentally, I can't remember if I said, Eric, I did send the giveaway prize, when was it? End of last week. So it should be with you before long. I forgot to confirm that on the Slack. But yeah, that should be with you soon, mate. Thank you for your patience. Right. Very good. We're going to finish with Fuego FC. Central Valley Fuego. And this is a shirt from Capelli. Capelli are quite funny. I'm not a big fan of their kind of brand mark. I think from memory, this is basically their brand mark, the squares. It honestly just looks really, really budget. In a world with the kind of Kappa logos and Hummel chevrons, Adidas 3 stripes, it's probably one of the weakest ones. But anyway, looking at the shirt as a whole, an interesting look here for the crest, and that little flash of green is a surprising addition. I'd almost want to see a little bit of green in the design potentially. The kind of tonal stripes are fairly strong. And I'm just trying to look at other elements of the shirt here. I don't mind the collar. Yeah, I think my initial impression is that I'd like to see a little bit of that green again, or even a bit more of the red elsewhere. Having said that, the red trim is there on the cuffs and the collar and the hem on the bottom. So yeah, I think overall mid to high counter tier. Like it's definitely got a strong overall look, despite being despite elements which I don't like, such as the Capelli brand mark. But actually, as a package, this has mid to high counter tier written on it for me. I'm certainly not too down on the design. So that is El Fuego. Favorito beat them in the US Open Cup. Mexican burrito restaurant. Yes, I did see that story, and this is a hilarious story, which Brock has alluded to here. Yes, I forgot. I couldn't remember the team that they beat, but I did see that. Essentially a semi-pro or an amateur team named after a chain of burrito restaurants who've had a bit of history, and I think they were actually quite successful in kind of local leagues and have been over the years. But it is a hilarious story. Like, yeah, the fact that is the beauty of a cup competition like the US Open Cup. And I gather there's been a lot of kind of hoo-ha with MLS, and did they pull out of it, or they threatened to pull out? I see they beat Portland Timbers 2, right, and then Central Valley Fuego. So are they still in the cup, Brock? That would be amazing if so. That is Capelli. And look at that. It's happened again where a team has been ranked exactly where I've been thinking of what I've been thinking of the brand so far this year. But they are. That's awesome. Guys, we're caught up, which is good. We love to see that. There are some shirts which I've not yet ranked, and I will try and go through and kind of backdate as many as I can before the next Hot Wall, and we might even be able to catch up. If we haven't caught up, we will do so in the coming weeks. So let's just make sure. I'm just going to make a note for ourselves. No, we're not going there. So what's that? April the 11th, which is today. Let's just name our folder. Cool. That's the Hot Wall on April the 11th. And you can see here, though we didn't have any Volcano 2 editions, there were a smattering of shirts for the Flames tier, notably the Valor FC shirt we talked about. What else did we have today? We had, of course, the Arminia Bielefeld shirt, which is really strong. And actually, I'm happy to say that was our top shot of the day. Wasn't all good though. Bit of a mixed bag, but overall, some tasty stuff. And the wall keeps growing. The wall keeps getting busier. Brock says MLS only put a few of the teams in. The 10 teams that qualified for CONCACAF Champions Cup are not in, and the next highest, 8 highest ranked teams are in. The remaining 11 have the reserve sides. Yeah, just a real mess, isn't it? At least from a UK fan perspective, it seems like a real disaster. The handling of that from the MLS, but hey, I don't know a lot about that story. Thanks though for the intel, Brock. Guys, we'll have a few minutes just to chat. We've been doing this on some recent streams. For anybody who wants to hang around and just ask any questions about shirts, about anything, stick in the chat, and I will be happy to chat about them. But if not, that's okay. We can call it a stream. But thank you. It's been a nice busy stream. I've enjoyed these Hot Wall streams. They've been it's good to see. Again, lots of returning faces, lots of the old guard, and some new names as well. And I do want to say thank you if you are tuning in as a newbie. And if you enjoy the content, please do leave a like on this video. That would mean a lot. Daniel says, saw a Juve leak with a new template. It's looking very nice. Should we see if I can find that? Was that on Footy Headlines? Daredevil. Sorry. Let's have a look. Let's look at Juventus. Home leaked. I don't know if I'm seeing the latest. Now, was it this one, Daredevil? If it was, that is looking pretty strong in the template. It's always funny because with so many kind of stripes, whether it's in the collar, obviously the kit itself, it would be easy for it to. Sorry, I've got something in my throat there which I need to clear. It'll be easy for it to look quite busy, but that as a whole does look promising. Does indeed look promising for Adidas and Adidas stripe teams. Of course, Newcastle may get a similar kit. Who knows? But yeah, liking the look of that as well, based on the leaks. It's a funny time of year now, guys, where most major kits have been leaked. If they haven't been leaked, we kind of know the colours, etc. So yeah, if you're not worried about spoilers. Oh, thanks, Daredevil. Yeah, there's stuff to prepare for. I kind of like. Oh, it's an away kit. Gotcha, Daredevil. Gotcha. Yeah, I like to sometimes kind of make a mental list, or at least to kind of think if I see a leak, I think, okay, that has potential. Something like the Liverpool, I believe it was the Liverpool third show, which looks a bit odd. Looks a bit like too many DARs have been turned up, but I kind of like it, despite the popular consensus being that it's pretty ugly. With the that's the one with the upturned swooshes, but I'm cautiously optimistic on that one. Shorts look at they're looking playing a huge part of the kits this year. Sorry, I butchered that sentence. But yes, Daredevil, they are definitely, and certainly the international fixtures were a lot of fun. Year of the shorts, yeah, it's certainly looking that way. Which is cool, and I think there's a lesson there for us shirt enthusiasts to kind of not always jump to conclusions with the shirt, because sometimes with the shorts the design makes a lot of sense. It helps kind of tell a story, and that certainly was the case with some international kits of the most recent window, and I'm sure it will be for some of the new kits as well. But sorry, that was one of the later yawns we've had on the stream. It took us an hour to yawn for the first time. We're doing better. So yes, I also agree. I wish they did sell shorts for pockets. It's funny, isn't it? Because obviously they don't do that for the players, but I think when it comes to us fans, us collectors, I would also appreciate that. When you wear them around the house, it's good to have a few pockets. But But yeah, I'm with you, Daredevil, for sure. I said it near the start, guys, but the next main Feels Corner video will be coming out very soon. It'll probably be the start of next week by the time I finish editing that. But I look forward to that. And yeah, I'll post the stream schedule. I mentioned on Tuesday, but initially I said that we wouldn't be streaming on Champions League nights. I wanted to try doing it on Tuesday, last Tuesday, but there weren't that many people, and I think I will stick to that. So we've kind of tried that now. So I think we will continue doing eBays, but only on nights where there isn't European fixtures. Daredevil, I did see the Kraken jersey, and it looks great. Yeah, really, really cool. And Seattle Kraken certainly have one of the most, for me, one of the stronger brands of a number of kind of rebrands or new teams. We're likely to see a bunch of NFL teams get rebranded or have new uniforms, which will be interesting to see. But a lot of recent rebrands haven't been that strong. But as a brand exercise, and the Kraken, it's been one of the most, certainly one of the fun, the stronger new brands across all sports. Certainly one which I've enjoyed. I am a Habs fan though, a Montreal Canadiens fan, but if I wasn't, I'll be certainly I'd like to get a Kraken jersey at some point. That would be cool. Right, guys, we'll leave it there. But thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment on the video itself if you enjoyed today. If you've got any other questions, and there is a Patreon as well. Don't forget to check that out. If you want to support me further, there's a list of the benefits at the link. Yeah, any support would be really appreciated. Thank you to my current patrons, a few of you who tuned in today. It really does make a difference, and I really do appreciate it. But thank you. I'll see you very soon for the next video or stream. Take it easy, guys, and all the best.